Hi everyone, welcome back to Agape Gardens STL, and today I had thought about making spaghetti, and so that's what I'm going to do. I did already post a video before of making spaghetti previously. However, we're trying to move in the direction of a whole food plant-based diet, omitting animal products for right now. So what we're going to do is make a new version of spaghetti. So let's get started. First, I have my griddle here because I don't live in a studio kitchen that's easy to demonstrate cooking, and so I have my cutting board here and my skillet here that I'm going to try and put my spaghetti sauce in. So homemade spaghetti sauce is one of those staples that I think is so important to know how to make. It's so much better than jarred sauce, in my opinion. Not that there's anything wrong with jarred sauce. It's just not my preference. So, and it's also very versatile. I use this recipe for lasagna, for any kind of pasta bake that you might create. You could use this sauce. You could use this sauce on pizza, and it has more nutrition than your store-bought spaghetti sauce, in my opinion. So we're first just going to cube up our onion. This is a non-stick skillet that I'm using, but I am going to put a little bit of oil in there. If you are oil-free, by all means, use your own method. A lot of people use broth or water to keep anything from sticking out. I think we'll have a big sticking issue, but I'm just going to add just a little bit. Okay, that's warming up. And we like a lot of onions, so we're going to go ahead and put a whole onion in here. Just slice it in half, slice down. One of the tricks I've learned is if you leave the root attached, it will be, first of all, you get very little waste, and it keeps the onion from bleeding and your eyes from burning. So make sure you grab one of that. Also, save your scraps. You can use all of these scraps to make your own veggie broth. So, or chicken broth or beef broth, however you want to do that. So let's get our onion in here sauteing. Now my other spaghetti recipe, I did go ahead and show that I add carrots, shredded carrot in, just for a little bit more nutrition. So I am going to do that today. So I just have this carrot, a little more nutrition. So I have this carrot. I went ahead and washed the skin. Sometimes you want to take the skin off because the skin's a little bit bitter, but in this case it won't make a difference. So we'll go ahead and get those nutritional benefits. Go ahead and put that in with that. Alright, we're just going to mix that around. One thing that I've noticed in making whole food plant-based meals is that it's incredibly important to season every step of the way, and to season pretty liberally, not just with salt. So we're going to be using some Italian seasoning here. We'll go ahead and put some of that on. I have some, there is basil in the Italian seasoning, but I like a lot of basil, so I have some homegrown basil. Just home-dried, homegrown and home-dried. So I just take some of that, just mash it up, put it in there. Garlic powder. We are going to add in some fresh garlic. I like to layer up that garlic flavor. It's delicious. And I haven't really tried this before, but I'm going to go ahead and throw a little bit of this mushroom powder in here just to see how that is. Okay. And then I have a can of stems and pieces of mushroom. I'm going to throw that in. So now most of the action is going to be happening in the pan. And what we're going to do, I'm going to add just a little bit of that smoked paprika too to get that umami kind of flavor happening. We're going to get that from a couple of other places as well. And so one is the not beef bouillon cube. Now this has, I'm not adding any other salt because this has quite a bit of salt in it. And so I'm actually going to use about half of one of these cubes. I'm going to cut that in half. So we've got this lightly sauteed, and what we're going to do now is we are going to put in our lentils. Now our lentils provide a lot of nutrition, a lot of fiber, and have a delicious kind of flavor as well. So I have green lentils, that's just what I have in this reused jar. I'm going to put about 1/4 cup of lentils. They don't take very long to cook. I'm going to put those in. And then you need to have some kind of liquid to cook the lentils. And so I'm going to use my homemade veggie broth. This doesn't have any salt. It's just made from using the remnants like we were talking about before from cooking. So this has leeks and onions and mushrooms and celery and things like that. So I'm going to put some of that in there. And we're going to let that kind of boil and cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. And while I'm letting that go, I am going to add in my bouillon, not beef bouillon cube. Okay, cut it up in smaller pieces. It'll dissolve in there. And then, oh, we forgot our garlic. We forgot to put the garlic in. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and put some roasted garlic, better than bouillon, in here. Just a little bit. Add a little bit of that garlic flavor. Okay, so as you can see, it's boiling and it's reducing that bouillon down. And it will continue to do that as we cook. Our broth has reduced quite a bit. There's still some in there, which is totally okay. And so what we're going to do now is add the tomatoes. Now this is my last jar of home canned tomatoes that I've been saving to make this recipe for you all. So this is a quart size. You can also make it with 2 pints equal a quart, or if you make a smaller batch you can use 1. This is like the equivalent of 2 of the store-bought cans of diced tomatoes, the smaller 14.5 ounce cans. And so we're just going to add this in. All those beautiful tomatoes. And mix that all in. Okay. Now the thing that really brings it all together is the tomato paste. I used to purchase and still do, purchase the tomato paste in a can. But I did find this roll-up kind, which I really am enjoying just for the convenience of it. I might just want some tomato paste and not a whole can of it. So this really comes in handy. But we're going to use quite a bit here. So just squirt some in there. This is what thickens up your sauce. You can also add in here some vegan Worcestershire if you have that. You can add in some liquid aminos or soy sauce to get a little more of that umami flavor happening in there. So just mix that in. And we're going to just let that come together. Give it maybe another 5 or 10 minutes. Here all you're really waiting for is for it to reduce a little bit more and get to the consistency you want. Make sure your lentils are tender. We will taste for seasonings, Some folks don't like the acidity of tomatoes as much, and you add just a little pinch, just a little bit of sugar, and it'll cut that acidity and make it a little bit more palatable. And our very last step is we are going to add in some frozen chopped spinach. Fresh is better, but I don't have fresh, and so I'm still going to add those greens into the dish to get those nutrients as well. Okay, so this is about the consistency that we want. You don't have to simmer it this hard. The skillet just goes up and down trying to regulate temperature. So you want to just check that your lentils are tender, and if you're going to let it sit for a while and simmer on the stove, then it's okay if your lentils aren't tender. They will get tender in the course of about 20 to 30 minutes. So you have that there. I did taste, it is very acidic, so we are going to add a little bit of sugar. And I'm just going to take it in my hand, about a teaspoon at a time. Because remember, we're not trying to make it sweet. If you like a sweet sauce, you can make it a sweet sauce. All we're trying to do is cut the acidity of those tomatoes. Delicious. Tastes delicious. We don't need any more sugar. All we need to do now is to add our spinach. All I do is take it just directly out of the package and just sprinkle in however much you think you would like or not notice. Just stir it around. Melt in. This doesn't take a lot of time to cook. All you're doing is warming it up. That's how I make whole food plant-based spaghetti sauce. There are many variations, but this is the one I really enjoy. Comment down below if you've tried any recipes and you really like them. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.